50 States of Terror may include content unsuitable for young audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Content warnings will be included in the show notes. This is North Dakota, the Peace Garden State, and the Roughrider State. On the back it says not literally. Well, hello world, your favorite podcast host about cryptids, Anthony Diaz here with another episode of 50 States of Terror. Welcome. This is the first state where we have multiple state nicknames. Isn't that fun? So I chose the best two. And if you're wondering why I'm talking a little softly and perhaps audibly grimacing, is because I'm recording at night with my lovely wife. Well, everybody else is asleep.
Well, everyone else is asleep. It is I, the feral housewife. Hello, I'm back.
And welcome back, Kaylee, the owner of Kaylee's Art and Oddity Shop. If you are a fan of my other show, Narrative Quest, I almost forgot my other show's name. You know that we had a season 1, episode 1. You were the guest, of my first guest, and
yeah.
And welcome back to 50 States of Terror.
Well, thank you for having me back from the comfort of my own home.
So yeah, everyone, our kiddos are asleep, so we are here in our studio.
Let's be honest, one is asleep.
One is asleep.
One is ignoring that we exist.
That's correct, because he's a teenager.
Because Minecraft.
And that's because Minecraft, and that's because that's what they do. But yeah, and also like real quick news and something. I apparently might have pulled a shoulder muscle or something. It is painful to move a little bit. I don't want to spend the whatever high dollar amount of money it takes to go to the ER, but
I didn't know we were at that point. Earlier today, you said it was feeling
better.
It
is feeling better, but like if it continues to hurt one more day, which probably isn't, I'll go and check it out. And for all of the international listeners, what you think the American healthcare system is, you're probably accurate. I just throw money away to an insurance company that probably doesn't even help the damn thing anyway.
Damn, dude, did I come back to a political podcast?
But this is not a political podcast about healthcare.
I just hit my head.
This is a podcast about cryptids, myths, lore, aliens, and all that cool shit.
I literally threw my head back and I'm sitting in bed and I hit my fan that I can't sleep without. Even if I don't turn it on, it has to be there now.
That is hilarious.
I was trying not to guffaw into the microphone. I was trying to have some like mic courtesy.
So, so what's new with you? What's going on?
Man.
You have a show coming up.
I do. Yeah. We've got, life is a bit of a mixed bag. So, we've had some pretty heavy times, but we've got some fun stuff going on too. I don't know how much has been discussed on the pod, so I'll make a quick statement, that my mother passed away earlier this year. And so things have been really hard. And it's been hard to work and it's hard to be creative and have fun and stuff. But I do have a show coming up on Saturday that I'm really excited for out at Bird Post, which is one of my new favorite places to go and set up at. They have a great community out there. There's a farmer's market.
It's a cool spot.
It is. It's a great spot. They've got like this awesome outdoor backyard venue. So I guess start with what is Bird Post? Bird Post is a marketplace. They've got a ton of local vendors, retailers, artists, things like that set up in their store. And I was actually able to do my first show with them with my mother in January this year. And that was the last show that I got to have my mom around for. And so it was really special for me to get to go and set up there again. And Joe, who runs Bird Post, is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
They also have an evening market coming up on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to set up out there for my birthday if anybody wants to come say hi. So April 26th, I will also have an evening market out in Robstown. Potentially going to be setting up at a Ren Fair. That's an exciting announcement to come up soon.
Yep.
I've got some other larger things coming up, and I do have some big announcements, but I'm actually not allowed to tell what they are.
But we got you specifically have some amazing things.
Yeah,
in the horizon.
I've got some investments that are going to be paying off this fall. But I am a spooky girl. Most of my business is spooky season, so I do have to keep it a little under wraps for right now. But I hope that once some of that stuff, once that stuff starts coming up, then I'll come back and let everybody know when I can.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Yeah.
Sorry I stutter a little bit. It's been a little bit since I've podcasted.
No, I mean, you're going to be on Beer and a Movie on Monday?
We're going to be recording this Sunday.
Oh, Sunday, right.
And I can't say which movies yet.
Nope.
Because I believe your episode's going to come out before.
My episode
comes out tonight.
Tonight at midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, that episode will be out very soon, but I am recording with the Beer and a Movie guys again. I'm super excited. They just had the BAMIs Awards that I got to join for.
When I first saw that post about the awards, I was like, what? The BAMIs? BAMIs? Oh, the BAMIs. The Beer and a Movie. Oh, got it.
Is that like when you didn't know how to say meme?
Meme?
No, memes.
It was memes.
Memes. Stop sending me memes. When I'm pooping. Es un pinche pez.
Oh man, oh my god! How long has it been since we've done that shit?
10 years. I was trying to learn
Spanish. It's Rosetta Stone, and the program got stuck at the word "bez," which is for fish, and it kept it wouldn't go.
It wanted me to say "es un pez."
Es un pez.
Es un pez. Es un pez, and it still wouldn't read it.
It still wouldn't read.
Es un pez. I have my headphones on. I'm in our tiny little apartment that I crashed because Anthony got an apartment for himself, and I decided I needed to live there too. And so there wasn't a lot of space. And so I'm just on the couch getting so mad. And I was like, es un pinche pez. And that's my little callback from that time period.
Yeah, until
this whole episode should probably be like a outtake episode, huh?
Oh, this is fan. This is this is great. For those who wanting to know the conversation before we started the 50 state stuff, you can go on our Patreon because that's where this is gonna be on, baby.
All right.
Hell yeah! All right, so let's get into the state. North Dakota. Have you been to North Dakota before?
I've been to South Dakota.
Really? What's in South Dakota?
Mount Rushmore.
Oh, that's right. It's Mount Rushmore. Right.
Which is really disappointing. It is just kind of a mar on the really pretty landscape, I'll say. I don't think I've been to North Dakota on purpose, but we road tripped, so I was a kid.
Yeah.
Where's the one with the claws? The bear clawed the mountain. The plateau.
Oh, I think isn't that in Arizona?
No, it's in one of the Dakotas or Wyoming or Montana or.
So the actual Midwest.
Anthony, I will fight you right now. That is not the Midwest. Anthony, I was so ADD'd out for a second, and that is not the Midwest.
That is so funny.
I'm going to look up the place I'm thinking.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
I don't know if I've been to North Dakota. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about it?
Well, I have not been to North Dakota yet, and I am very, very anxious to go because I've seen pictures of the national parks that are up there, and they're gorgeous.
But they're cold.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah.
cold.
So here we go. State facts. So admitted to the Union on November 2nd, 1889, the area was once a part of the much larger Dakota Territory. It was inhabited by various indigenous peoples such as the Mandan, the Hidatsa, the Arikara, the Ojibwe, and the Cree. Within the same area of the Dakotas were a number of Sioux groups that called this land their home. Now, within the 19th century, approximately 20 years after the American Civil War, and within the time frame of the Wild West, a growing number of now post-Civil War Americans were moving north and west, pushing out displaced native peoples and turned a declining fur trade region into large wheat farmlands. So, fun fact, these farmers formed a political movement known as the Populist Movement, or the People's Party, which of course doesn't exist anymore, but begs the statement, perhaps we should move away from the modern two-party system and embrace a more well-rounded school of thought. Perhaps, I don't know, but I'm glad that this isn't a political podcast.
Okay, thank you. I was waiting.
Anywho.
I was like biting at the microphone. I was like, sir. I hope you can hear the S's. Sir.
But what's funny is that those two political parties were like deep Democratic. Yeah. Super
Actual Democratic?
Oh yeah, I'll get that in a second because it's actually pretty fascinating what turns within World War I. So by the 20th century, the upper train systems that used to haul the grains brought more excavation of other natural resources such as oil, which was crucial to the economic development of not only North Dakota, but also the industrial boom that was on a steep incline going into World War I. Now, prior to all of this, the first European to explore the area, and I'm using explore in quotation marks.
Oh yeah, our 6-year-old figured those out recently.
Oh, did he?
Everything is in air bunnies. He told me earlier that he was a dinosaur, and I was very confused on why that had to be in quotations. I was like, so you're not a dinosaur? And then I was very confused. Okay, please continue.
The French Canadian Berrier Gatlier Serre de la Vinadière, and I'm hoping I'm doing my French correctly, included in the bill for statehood was North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Washington. In the Enabling Act of 1889, which was interesting because the bill split the Dakota Territory into two states. So that's how we got North and South Dakota.
Oh, I don't ever think I've been to North Dakota. I thought about it some more. I went to Yellowstone, so we went straight through South Dakota.
Oh, there you go.
But if I went to North Dakota, I would have gone to Fargo.
Hell yeah.
And I didn't go to Fargo, so I didn't go to North Dakota.
The only reason why I want to go to Fargo is because I love the movie Fargo. And
I haven't seen it.
It's such a great movie.
But I just know that's that and Minot.
Minot?
The base. Isn't there a base up there? There's an Air Force base, I think.
And
that's like
there
your
is.
punishment.
Yeah.
Who'd you get pissed off? You guys. I think it's Minot. I think because it's got a T, and I think it's stupid, and you actually say the T.
Oh, really? Minot?
Yeah. Like in Missouri, we have Versailles.
Versailles?
Stupid. Please continue. Sorry. Is this the content you were hoping for?
Fuck yeah, it is. Fuck yeah, it is.
Fucking Fargo.
It's a great movie, by the way. Everybody out there, you should either
Love that movie.
Watch the movie or watch the show. It's fantastic.
Date night.
So again, this isn't a political podcast, but it is very interesting when you start to research things like the North Partisan League, the People's Party, and the Socialist Party of North Dakota. These were all true things that were the political set the scene prior to World War I. You see, and how the ideology.
So we're not going to get canceled for any. Like, there's not going to be any opinions coming up about the partisans and the stuff.
Oh no, because
this is all like pre-World War I.
Yeah, because it grew. Because the ideology of these things were completely left-wing democratic socialism.
Okay.
Which was a thing leading into World War One. And
I'm not here for World War One, but I'm here for
But it's interesting because like after World War One, there was a dramatic switch.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's incredible to think about. Like everybody up north was into democratic socialism, and ooh, the scary word, socialism.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was super interesting. Anyway, its capital is Bismarck, North Dakota, and some of the most historically rich lands with national parks such as Theodore Roosevelt National Park. It is a state that I have yet had the opportunity to visit, but I cannot wait to explore. North Dakota.
Real cold up there. And I'm still mad that it's technically. You know what? I'm not mad about the Dakotas being in the Midwest. That is in the middle. But no, the other ones I'm still mad about.
It's North Mid.
Mid.
It's
We just need a different name for all the different regions.
yeah.
I'm dying on this hill.
How is Michigan in the Michigan is not.
That just needs to be its own. That's the lakes.
It is the lakes. Yeah.
Call it the lakes. Quit calling it the Midwest. It's not in the middle. Missouri's in the middle. Kansas is in the middle. We're like the thong of the U.S. Okay?
Ooh,
It's literally the ass crack of the nation. It's swampy. It's wet. Everybody's real weird and hairy. Like
no, that's Florida.
No, Florida's a dick. It's shaped like one. It's got all the STDs. It's got weird hair in weird places.
It's America's penis.
Oh my gosh. All the drugs. Like those veins are popping out everywhere.
Let's get into...
I didn't hit my fan, but I'm still laughing.
Let's get into the first cryptid.
Oh yeah, we're talking about the cryptids today.
This is called the Miniwashitu.
Is that in any way related to the Mini Peshu?
No.
It wasn't It was Mini Peshu, right?
Yeah, Minipeshu, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious because the names were similar, so I wasn't sure if the tribes were connected.
Well, actually, they are. So the Dakotas and the Cree and the Sioux peoples, it was all within the. Oh man, what is the river? It's not the Colorado, the Missouri. Yeah, the Missouri River.
Yeah.
So I would assume that the names were kind of being from the same pool of language, but this is a different type of creature. So this is not the mini peshu, but this is the Miniwashitu. So, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just curious if those because it's been a while since I've done. I had to look up a word real quick, but it's been a while since I've talked tribal anything with you, and I'm trying to remember about Algonquian, if I say it correctly, because that included the Great Lakes and the Great Plains.
That's correct.
And that was when we covered Mini Peshu. And that was also when we covered the Triangle on the East Coast. We discussed the clash of the Algonquian culture, I want to say.
Was that Connecticut or Delaware? I think it was Delaware.
Yeah, I want to say it was Delaware.
Yeah, in Delaware.
But I guess I don't know where the division would be because Great Plains might include those specific groups with that. So that's where I was curious. I'm going to go on a rabbit hole while I listen to you, and I'm going to see what those root words are and see if they have a similar base word in an Algonquian. And I really hope I'm saying that right.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, please continue, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So it isn't a new theory that our national parks hold a number of mysteries, but it just so happens that the first cryptid we're going to discuss, might reside in the aforementioned national park, the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, located in Medora, North Dakota.
Is that the park where he didn't shoot the bear?
Yeah, I think that's
where they make the teddy bears, or where the story
comes from. Yeah,
that he didn't kill the bear. Was that at that part?
I think this is also the one where
he was riding the moose,
in the water, which is an obvious doctored photo, but it looks really good.
Yeah, it's like a double exposure.
Yeah, double exposure photo. Yeah. Like, I'm
gonna look up the story.
Yeah. So located in Medora, North Dakota. So real quick, do yourself a favor and do two things. Google Medora, Google Medora, North Dakota. And the first picture is of an incredible in a landscape of hills and lush greens and warm-colored terrains. It makes you want to do a second thing: go and grab a national park pass. As a former park ranger of the Sea Turtle Science and Recovery Team at Padre Island National Seashore, if we want to keep these parks for our future meat puppets to enjoy, then buying national park passes and just going to see these parks, oh yeah, helps tremendously. I was not a biologist for the National Park Service nor for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, but these agencies are close to my heart. And as I worked for them, because they ensured that wildlife is a priority. If I ever had a chance to go back to school for whatever reason, I would pursue a career in wildlife enforcement. But I digress. They were doing something different for this episode. Normally, I would like spitball it, but for some reason, I wanted to write this out, and it just so happens that you wanted to come on. So this actually works out pretty great.
Well, I'd like to say that I did find out that the story of the teddy bear is actually from Mississippi.
Mississippi?
Yeah, it was a bear hunting trip in Onward, Mississippi in 1902.
Oh.
Mississippi's governor invited him, but unlike the other hunters in the group, he had not located a single bear. There was one of his assistants, Holt Collier?
Yeah.
A born slave and former Confederate cavalryman cornered and tied a black bear to a willow tree. They summoned Roosevelt and suggested that he shoot it. Viewing this as extremely unsportsmanlike, Roosevelt refused to shoot the bear. The news of the event spread quickly across the articles, or through newspaper articles across the country, and they recounted the story of the president who refused to shoot a bear. However, it was not just any president; it was Theodore Roosevelt.
Do you know that Theodore Roosevelt was the first advocate to have national parks and wildlife refuges?
It doesn't surprise me. I am quite fond of his daughter. If I have the correct president in mind, her name is Alice Roosevelt.
What was she known for?
Oh, just being a fucking hellion.
Oh, really? Oh.
Like, if I have the right president, and I'm fairly confident I do, he was asked about keeping his daughter in line, and he's like, I can do two things: run the country or keep track of Alice. Like, no. Like, that is a horrible rendition of the quote. But it was like, I can either keep track of this fucking hellcat of a daughter who was like smoking and drinking and hanging out with guys and like doing all like, just like, but I was very feminist, if I remember. Like, it's been a while, but Alice was just not fucking having well-behaved women in her life.
There you go.
And he was just like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, I just pictured my parents growing up. Like, what do you want me to do about her? Like, and just vaguely gesturing at all of me. Like, what?
It's either you like it or just leave her alone.
Okay, sorry.
The Miniwashitu is said to be an aquatic and land creature that may reside within the Missouri River area. It is a bipedal creature that is 7 to 8 feet tall and resembles a bison with a single eye and a single bison horn. It has L-like hooves, human hands, and a spiked back. Now, the spiked back is said to resemble that of a chupacabra, but the artist renditions of it have it more like a stegosaurus. So they're armored plates rather than actual like the long elongated spikes.
An ankylosaurus?
Stegosaurus.
But you said, but not big, tall plates? More like armor?
No, but they're like sticking out. They're like they look like home bases on baseball field, but they're sticking out.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like giant dragon scales.
Yeah, kind of.
Or like laying down like scales. Your description was better.
Yeah, so coming from the Dakota Nation's lore, the creature would rise from the river and break up the ice of the river to allow passage. The size and the girth of this creature would be impressive to see, but is there a way to defend it? Did girth get you? I'm trying to be serious here.
We were just talking about smut before we started the
Oh,
podcast.
yeah, we're that's
I
hilarious.
choked. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
I'm
Okay.
I'm an adult.
The size and girth of this creature would be impressive to see, but there is a way to defend this argument of the existence.
Can you beat it?
So, can you what?
You're talking about the argument. Like, can you beat the argument? Like, can you? Okay, moving on. I'm so sorry.
So here's what we know. We do know that some animals could have deformities, which could develop in some sort of a singular, or what could resemble a singular eye. And with one horn on a bison's body, how about something a little more ancient? A discovery in 1888 in and around Colorado of horned fossils to be believed as Triceratops, along with what it resembled bison fossils, could be a clue into what indigenous peoples around North Dakota could have stumbled across. So I would imagine that stories and lore that were passed down could have been a discovery that have been destroyed or used for different purposes of maybe finding some type of dinosaur fossils that were right next to maybe an animal such as a bison, and maybe their reasoning was, yeah, this thing lives in the rivers.
Yeah.
This thing could be on lands. Because there's no exact evidence that the Miniwashitu was fully aquatic. We know that bisons are strong swimmers. They are incredibly agile for being such massive creatures. So is it plausible for this to be a descendant of an extinct creature? I would say, why not? This isn't a 9-foot tall creature with octopus legs and a body of an elephant with 30 sets of wings flying over, spewing gold out of it over the hills. But to be fair, I would love to see that flying creature spitting out gold bars over my backyard.
So for a moment I forgot the gold bar description, and I was like, I don't know. I guess it could be something. And then you brought that back up, and you lost me again. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for people to assume that there would be like an equal but opposite. So if you had something that was bison size and bison shaped and there's one on land, it makes just as much sense that there would be one in the sky and there would be one in the water.
Right.
Especially when you're in an area, all along the Missouri, you're going to have larger birds and things like that. So is that where you want the discussion to lead now?
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, the argument that I was going to make was this discovery was in 1888 in Colorado of finding an actual Triceratops fossil alongside bison remains.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual story from 1888 falls in line with the expansion of pushing out the native peoples from North Dakota.
Yeah.
From the years of 1851 all the way to 1890, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be far-fetched for them to either catch wind of the story, maybe even locate the bones fossils themselves, and say, yeah, this thing is out here. What it does is in the winter, it pops its head and breaks the ice for us so we can travel on. But could it be just like them seeing a bison that's in a fog or in a storm, and then that's what they first thought they saw, and then it goes on from there?
So I have a couple questions. One, this is a native story, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you're saying, like, when we did the Colorado episode, and because we talked about the Ute tribes out there and how they were trying to push them out for logging and for land rights and mineral rights and everything like that. But I almost said white people didn't make the story to push people out. I just want to confirm that Are you implying the other?
No, I'm implying that it was an explanation to what they could have saw,
Okay, instead of the
and
opposite.
instead of trying to push people out,
Mm-hmm.
it was an explanation for what they may have discovered, either through maybe a different set of people's explaining
Mm-hmm.
the lore,
Yeah.
and then like they put in their 2 cents, not for the extent of pushing others out, but for the extent of maybe a guardian, a vessel, or what
Mm-hmm.
have you.
So I'd be interested to read more into when the stories were being first written, first recorded,
1921.
and who recorded it.
It was it wasn't a poet. Oh man. And I was gonna put this in here too. Um, but it was an explanation of the story that they had heard within that area
Okay.
going into North Dakota.
Because I'm kind of curious if there were any written records before, just in the realm of why we might have been telling the story or why it might have been passed around, because it seems like it's doing something really helpful,
Yeah.
which I don't think is something we hear a lot when we hear cryptid stories. I mean, we hear about butterfly people in Joplin
Mhm.
saving children, but Alabama Wolf Woman wasn't really doing anybody any favors. She wasn't really doing much of anything, but usually they're not good stories. So I was wondering if perhaps. So I mean, what Missouri River? I mean, look at Lewis and Clark. The fur trappers were all up and down there during the expansion of the westward territories. But I would probably tell my boss if I just needed to break up some ice to get a little further upriver so I could make a bunch of money and get up to like a better fur trap area. Be like, oh, well, it's so funny because, actually, this local tribe, they were just telling us about a bison that goes in the river, right? And it just breaks up all the
Yeah,
ice. And then we
yeah.
can go 20 miles further.
Right.
So that's why I was curious where the recording was. Because the name, it still strikes me every time you say the name of it, I think Mini
Mini
Peshu.
Peshu.
And so that's why I was trying to poke around
Well,
and
Mishi Peshu. I'm sorry.
Michi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You got it. Because I think I said it wrong in the episode too.
Yeah.
um, so I was looking up the different languages and like which ones are closer. And I feel like I'm doing my sister like a dishonor right now because she works with native programs and is on her own native journey right now. And I am learning so much.
Well, I would imagine that the indigenous peoples would heavily use the Missouri River as a trade route. So is it, it wouldn't does the Missouri fall into Colorado? Does it feed into it?
Into the Colorado River,
Yeah,
Missouri goes into the Mississippi.
Mississippi
Mm-hmm.
from north south and then going up to the Dakotas.
Because the Missouri River makes the top left border
Yeah.
or the top west border, and then cuts straight across the state, and then feeds into the Mississippi that it makes up our east border.
Yeah, I would imagine that the trade route, or at least the fur trade area from Colorado to south to Kansas, then go north. I would imagine that there was a lot of mixing and matching of stories, lore, and things like that.
Yeah, we did our reenacting that we did growing up was pre-1848 fur trapping in Missouri.
Yeah.
So I worked at Fort Osage. That was from the Lewis and Clark expedition. Afterwards, they came back and they built Fort Osage.
Mm.
But they went up the Missouri. So I've actually seen some of the ships that went. They did a whatever anniversary it was. Reenactment of the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Oh, cool.
And so we got to see the boats come through, and then the boats go on up the river, and they did the whole trek.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, ooh, I'm thinking about those fur traders and the trappers and stuff, because I remember in school I got detention for correcting my teacher. Because there's a lot of misconception on like the way that fur trappers would work.
Did you actually them?
I actually'd and I got detention, and my dad gave me a book to go and improve my teacher wrong. I got out of detention, but I was required to give her an apology for talking to her like an idiot. She was an idiot.
We love you, teachers.
I love teachers. I don't love this teacher. Because I don't know how you know what? Never mind. I'm not even that mad about it.
It's only been what?
Shut up. It's not even been that long. Old.
I'm old. All right, so let's get another one. I did a little something different this time. So I wanted to include this one because the balance that 50 States of Terror tries to bring to the table is everything. Lore, monsters, cryptids, everything.
I was going to say smart and sexy.
It isn't unknown to any of y'all's listeners out there that I think aliens and extraterrestrials are real. I'm a believer. She is not.
I believe in aliens.
Oh, that's right. You do believe in aliens.
I do
right?
believe in aliens.
Right. No,
I just think a lot of the stories are dumb.
So
I say on the Cryptid podcast, don't come for me.
Well, I often make the joke that at least it's not the Snallygaster. Like,
I love the Snallygaster.
but that thing is way far fetched, unreal.
But he's so cute.
Are you kidding me with the tentacle beak?
Oh my goodness.
And the squonk. The squonk's another one.
He's so sad.
He's
so sad.
The little wrinkly piglet thing that cries.
He's an East Coast one. I want to
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
Or Southern.
Yeah, he's East Coast. East Coast. I think he's Pennsylvania. Yeah. I can't remember. So when I heard that North Dakota had a real cool alien story, I had to put it in there. I had to put it in on the show. So in 1795.
The year was 1795.
In 1975, in Bismarck, North Dakota, Sandra Larson, her boyfriend, and her daughter were driving late at night and witnessed strange orange orbs descending from the sky. And Sandra tells the story as feeling stuck in place and then instantaneously waking in the back seat with her daughter now sitting in front. So they're driving. They see the orbs. They freeze in place. Mm-hmm. The car stops. Instantaneous. She shifts locations and now is in the back seat. Her daughter's in the front seat. Okay.
But why though?
Here we go. Where was I? Here we go. It was told that they lost an hour of time from feeling frozen in time and then snapping to in the back seat. The story must have been released on a news outlet, perhaps, because a psychologist and UFO investigator, R. Lee Sprinkle, and that's his name, R. Leo Sprinkle.
R. Leo Sprinkle.
Yeah, Leo Sprinkle.
I don't know why, but Leo is the most ridiculous part of that whole name.
Really?
Like R. Sprinkle?
R. Sprinkle sounds right.
R. Leo Sprinkle.
R. Leo Sprinkle.
R. Leo. Wait, is it R letter?
R. Dot
Leo.
Yeah, Sprinkle.
I would go by it. His first name has got to be off the charts ridiculous though.
Yeah, it's probably like something.
It's not like
royal. Rupert.
Why can't I say the name?
Like Rupert Leo Sprinkle.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Rupert. There we go.
Yeah. Well, this gentleman started to investigate the alleged extraterrestrial encounter. And for the record, I don't like using the word alien abduction because it gives the possible encounter a cheapened and almost comical feel to it. And I don't want to discredit anyone who claims to have had a legitimate experience. So back to the story. So under hypnosis, Sandra starts recalling events and past events that had happened to her involving extraterrestrial beings. The description given by Sandra were creatures that had their hands wrapped like mummies. Their heads wrapped like mummies with bulging large eyes. Their bodies were that of brown vinyl, and their extremities were metal-like appendages which resembled a Meccano set. And, I forgot to even mention what it was. This creature thing, the topic we're talking about is the alien Meccano mummy.
Meccano?
Yeah, Meccano.
Meccano.
Yeah. So, and for those who are not as old as I am, Meccano sets were these erectus sets. So these metal toy pieces that you engineered into structures.
They're Legos?
But they're huge, long metal pieces with screws and brackets and shit.
Oh, I know. The little robot-y ones where you had like the swirly gigs and the rich kids had on Disney Channel.
Yeah, some had those where it was mechanical and electrical, and then some of them were just the pieces by themselves, so you can build bridges or build like Little small little skyscrapers. I never had them.
Oh, I thought you said you did.
No, I never had them.
That's why I was making the rich jab. I was like, oh, little bougie boy.
No, I never had them. But these metal toy pieces that
Like
you
rocks.
injure into structures, I'm talking like full sharp metal pieces that you can legit build a structure with. These were popular along with old school home chemistry sets. But I remember seeing these as a kid before moving to more plastic type pieces. But Sandra described the creature as having arms and hands as if they were made from these materials. Her possible experience came under a ton of scrutiny, but her story did shape how UFOlogy is studied and researched today, factoring in personal trauma and personal perception, or how the brain might manufacture a scenario in intense, stressful situations. Now, I personally love a good extraterrestrial story. This one sounds like it could be a prelude to the movie Fire in the Sky. If you haven't seen Fire in the Sky, it is a fucked up movie. But either way, I hope you guys always look up to the skies. And that is the alien Meccano mummy. So you asking why instantaneously they switch spots? Because in the interview under hypnosis, she says that they were transported into the alien spacecraft and were experimented on, and then jolted back in the car. But when they got jolted back, I guess they just like kind of like misplaced who went where, and she was in the back seat, and then her daughter was in the front seat. What they don't tell you in any of the stories that I've read and researched this is what happened to the boyfriend. They don't say, or he hasn't either. A, he hasn't came forward. B, no one interviewed him. C, people think that he's full of shit. And D, they're like, the better story is what Sandra is telling under hypnosis.
Oh.
But under hypnosis, she says that she has experienced the same exact thing in multiple encounters in different times of her life since being a kid.
But the thing is, because with hypnosis, you either buy it or you don't.
Right.
Like it is what it is. You either believe in hypnosis, you don't believe in hypnosis. Now, if you believe in hypnosis, then you start to break up into another like separate couple schools of thought. Like
Sure.
Hypnosis, in my opinion, which I don't know if I buy into hypnosis or not, I think that you can definitely access memories and you can do like some
Sure.
work and go through some like repressed things. Don't think necessarily hypnosis is like raise your hand and bark like a dog. I haven't experienced it, but
you've seen those shows.
I mean, I've seen people do them. I don't think it's real, but that's fine. But I've never been part of the show, so maybe I just need to be volunteered.
I've been a part of the show once. It's super weird.
So I would be willing to volunteer, or if we have a hypnosis person on here that would like to, sure, we'll do some hypnosis. But even if but if you're under hypnosis, if you believe it to be true, it's like a polygraph. Like if you believe something to be true,
Oh, right.
does not make it true, but you would pass a polygraph.
Sure.
And under hypnosis, if you believe it to be true, it's not going to bypass any mental illness or any trauma or anything like that, to my knowledge. So, yeah, if she believed that she had been abducted several times, and I'm not saying she was mentally unwell, just for the credit of a hypnosis story, I just don't put a lot of tangible evidence, or I don't pull a lot of tangible evidence from a hypnosis confession or recounting of a story. Because if she believed it's true, sure. But I do think it's suspicious that the boyfriend was never discussed or interviewed, or where was his placement in the car? Did that come up?
Nope.
Like,
I
did he ever come back? Was he real?
Yeah. So like, yeah, he was there present. And there is one, I don't know how accurate or truthful it is, but it did say that the boyfriend did come forward like 20 plus years later.
Yeah.
When our Leo Sprinkle did a I think he co-wrote a book about his experience about this interview,
Yeah.
because this was from what I understand with the timeline of UFOlogy and the investigation of extraterrestrials, like this started off a new era of how people investigated alien like experiences.
And what year was this?
1970 1975. When the word got out, like he was one of the first ones to like to ask them to go under hypnosis and do an investigation. So, and this was what I want to say 20 plus years after people were thinking that the like Area 51 was an alien Markov spot.
And that's what I was just looking up because we covered Hopkinsville Goblins, the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, which was one of the original, like one of the OG alien stories in the US, and is one of the reasons we have like the little green men coined.
Yeah.
Is from the Hopkinsville encounter. So I was just curious where that was in the timeline of it, from going from 1955, which was Kentucky. Now we're in the 70s.
Now we're in the 70s.
And we've gone from, oh, we see these cute, well, I mean, they didn't call them cute, but like we saw these creatures on our property. They're little, they're this, they're that. They're just bouncing off of everything. And we tried shooting them. And now we've within 20-ish years, we've now escalated to all of the things that we really think of. But I was thinking of some of the research that we did for that specific case. And we were talking about some of the programs and the different places that are researching and their cooperation with the military and all of that. So it's interesting just to see how much 20 years changes from something that we weren't looking for to such grand experiences.
And then now
being recounted.
Now you can't even flip a TikTok video without having some type of alien footage somewhere.
Sir, that is your algorithm. I have never seen.
Okay.
Well, with the exception of the Florida situation.
Oh, with the Florida situation?
Yeah, with the big, tall ones, and
right.
they sent all the cops for a couple teenagers standing outside.
Yeah, that was interesting. The other one was in Las Vegas. That was incredibly interesting.
I don't know if I saw that one.
And then, it's just this hovering orb over Las Vegas. That was
UAP.
That was shot. Yeah, UAP. That was shot with 4 different angles.
Yeah.
And it just looked. It looked scary to think about. But it looked real. And then having modern day Pentagon, Department of Defense people come out and say like, yeah, we videotaped this thing. We had no idea what it is. Next. Like, let's just skip over this. Like,
skip over that.
Like, well, wait, what? Like, whoa, hold on. Did you just say what I thought you said?
Right.
Next subject. It's like, God damn it.
Men in Black are real. Move on.
Oh my God. Is that where we got Velcro from?
Oh, Velcro is awesome. Velcro.
That's a Men in Black joke if you haven't watched the movie yet.
Spoiler alert.
What, 30 years past its prime?
Not 30.
Oh, I think so. It was 90s.
No.
Yeah, it was.
I was not 3 years old.
When Men in Black came out?
No. I was old enough to go. I remember Burger King had Men in Black gear.
Okay, so it must have been in the mid 2000s, maybe?
Mid 2000s? That was in high school. The second one was already out by then.
Oh, okay. So early 2000s then.
Late 90s.
Probably. All right. Well, I'm going to. Oh, as the very special guest, would you like to rate these cryptids, these stories, the Miniwashitu and the alien Meccano mummy?
Look, the alien's not going to get a lot of love from me. I'm just not an alien person. But I did like the bison.
The bison one?
Mm-hmm. I like that one. So what are we still doing golden Nessies?
Sure, why not?
Are we doing on a 1 to 5?
Let's do this 1 to 5.
Okay, so I would do like a 4.
A
For
4 on
bison, I want to know more about the bison.
the Miniwashitu?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like a lot of aliens all kind of. I feel like a lot of the stories just kind of go together. So I'm just give a 2 for an alien,
Really?
but I think I'm aliened out lately. Oh, I went to Roswell.
You did.
Yeah,
You didn't stay very long, but you just went there and
yeah,
took a couple of pictures.
yeah. I took a couple pictures, saw the research facility. So maybe that was the crowning achievement for aliens for
Yeah.
me.
When
So I went to
you went
Roswell
to Roswell.
and I took some pictures and yeah, but I don't, but I'll give it a 2. I don't think I've ever given. Did I ever give anything a 0 or a 1?
I don't remember. I don't think you ever did.
Wait, I think there was one. I'm gonna look back through the file.
There might have been one that you
I feel like
one.
there was one. I was real.
I always rate them
spicy
high.
about.
I always rate them high because there's this really interesting story. But the Mini Washitu, I'll probably give a 4. I really wish there was more lore into it. The research that I did, like it only stemmed to like what it looked like, where it was at, what it did, and that's it. And
Yeah.
then that one sighting where not sighting, but the one piece of information where they actually wrote about it. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of like meaty lore into it. But the concept of it is fascinating, and I truly like it. The alien Meccano mummy. I truly love alien stories, and I love like space exploration, extraterrestrial, like what could be out there beyond our galaxy, within the thousands of galaxies that are in. I'll probably give it a 4.5, even though it's not one of the heavy hitter alien stories out there.
Yeah.
But just the fact that this is the beginning of the next generation and the next way people investigated these phenomena and investigated these experiences was from a more scientific, psychological, and biological aspect, rather than just be like, oh, you're just full of shit.
See, and I think if we approached it with that from like the get go, I would probably rate it a little higher. So maybe that's on me for being closed minded about aliens. But I think I just want to respect people enough that I don't want to be like, no, to their faces, except for you, because I married you. I get to tell you no.
I have listened, seen so many different type of podcasts about the existence of aliens, and like almost all of the the dude on the whiteboard with the strings attached and going all with conspiracy theories on aliens still being here or are here or they built shit. I love the fact that aliens is still a mainstream topic to talk about on shows, because it is incredibly interesting.
Oh no, I think it's great. I think it's interesting. I love aliens, which sounds contradictory to everything I just said through my mouth hole. I think aliens are real. I don't think aliens are coming here in UFOs and poking around and just trying to see what's up. And so 100% believe that we are not the only intelligent life in all of the spaciness. I think a lot of the stories are bullshit.
You see, I love the idea and the concept of oh man, now the name escapes me, but it's the Sumerians, the ones who were before the Sumerians, they're gods, and it is now like an ongoing theory, an ongoing conspiracy, an ongoing subject matter that they were actually aliens who populated the earth.
That's why our older son makes jokes about me being an alien. That's also in Scientology, I think, because my blood type I'm mixed with the divine blood type.
What's the divine blood type?
I'm Rh negative.
Oh, that's right.
And it's supposed to be a recessive gene from the
From
divine
divine
alien ancestors.
Right, yeah.
Like something. I remember somebody going on a whole discussion about it. I think somebody was trying to distract me from having to get a shot in my butt because of this blood type.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, did you know?" And then my son found out, and then he just made jokes about it forever.
Yeah, like
I'm
you're
an alien.
Yeah, you're the proof that that we were experimented on. We're the lab rats, and we're
I feel like that is such a fucking burn. That was such a horrible thing. Yeah, you.
not me. I'm normal blood type.
Oh. Your whole existence was an experiment. Thanks, love. Sad.
All right. Do you have any socials you want to put out there for the world? For the world.
For the world. So you can find me on Facebook mostly these days, if I'm honest. So I am Kaylee Diaz. It's my name. I have a Facebook and an Instagram account for my art business, which is Chaos, Kaylee's Arts and Oddity Shop. And you can find them both places. Search bar honestly just makes it easier because all the good handles were taken.
Yeah.
So if you see a jackalope skull, so a rabbit with antlers, that's me.
That's her.
If you see green hair, that's me.
That's her. And then for me, just stay tuned for the stay tuned for the show. All the socials will be on the credits after the show.
On the outro.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for being in our bedroom studio.
Soon to be our dining room studio.
Yeah. Thank you for being on.
Thanks, babe.
I love you very much.
Love you.
All right. Later, y'all.
Bye, friends.
This has been an episode of 50 States of Terror, brought to you by your host, Anthony Diaz. You can find the show on Facebook and Instagram at 50 States of Terror. On Twitter, you can find the show at 50 States Terror, without the of, because of the character limitations. You can also find the show on TikTok, 50 SOT Podcast. Email at the50sot@gmail.com. That's the 50sot@gmail.com. And of course, if you want to support the show, please, you may at patreon.com/50 States of Terror. Thank you, and happy hunting. Later.